Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, depending on where you are from. So we're gonna start today's virtual career fair. I see people are still joining, so I'm gonna slowly start. So welcome to this virtual career fair for statisticians in the consumer products or biopharmaceutical industry. So this is the event hosted by NIST, and it is actually the 10th in a series of virtual career fairs that NIST has been hosting. So I'm gonna first send this link for you if you're interested in knowing additional virtual career fairs that NIST has hosted before. So there are recordings and slides over there. So I am Ying. I'm gonna be today's moderator. So I'm associate professor from Department of Biostatistics, University of Pittsburgh. And before I joined in Pittsburgh, I actually also worked as a statistician in a pharmaceutical company called Eli Lilly. And one of our today's speaker, our third speaker, is also from Lilly. So I'm very honored and happy to moderate this event. So we will accept questions through Q&A. You can type there. Well, there is already a question. Access to the recording. So Dr. Rosenberg, there's a question about the recording. I believe we will post the recording to the NIST website, right?
That is correct. We will post it a day or two after the event today.
Thank you. Okay. So today we will have 3 senior statisticians featuring the consumer products or biopharmaceutical industry, talking about their experience for the career as a statistician in their company. So the procedure is each presenter will have about 15 minutes to talk about their experience and try to answer the questions that we post from our web general topics. And then if you have questions, you can type through the Q&A or raise your hand, and then Dr. Rosenberg will give you the opportunity to either speak or you can just type through the Q&A. Okay. And we have a lot of time at the end for Q&As, but if you do have questions during the middle, you want to clarify, feel free also to type in the Q&A, and I will closely monitor that. All right. So now I'm gonna start to introduce our first speaker today, Dr. William Brenneman. All right, so you can see Dr. William Brenneman is showing his picture here, video here. So Dr. Brenneman is a research fellow and global statistics discipline leader at P&G in the data and modeling sciences department. He's also an adjunct professor of practice at Georgia Tech. So he joined P&G in 2000, and then he has worked on a wide range of projects that deal with statistics applications. He received his PhD in statistics from University of Michigan. And I actually also from Michigan. I was from Michigan Biostatistics. So Dr. William Brenneman is a fellow of ASA and a fellow of American Society for Quality. He's also a member of Institute of Mathematical Statistics and the Institute for Operations Research and Management Sciences. So he has served as the ASQ Statistics Division Chair, ASA Quality and Productivity Section Chair, and currently he serves as the AE for the journal Technometrics. So Dr. Brenneman also has 7 years of experience as an educator in high school and college. So now let's welcome Dr. Brenneman.
Thank you, Ying. It's great to be here. Is everything coming through okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so thanks for that introduction. And I do want to let people know that, yes, I had, my educational background. I started out in mathematics as an undergrad at Tabor College. I wanted to be a high school math teacher. And before that, I wanted to learn more math. So I got a master's degree in mathematics at the University of Iowa. And then I taught high school for 4 years and then at a small college for 3 before deciding I wanted to pursue a PhD in something that could, of course, lead to doing research at a university or potentially work outside of academia. So then I did choose to go to industry, and that was about 21 years ago when that happened. So really happy to be here and talk about statistics in industry. So I joined Procter Gamble. It's a company that's been around for a long time. Some people may not know about what all Procter Gamble produces, but it was formed, the company was formed in Cincinnati by James Gamble and William Procter. The story goes that they married sisters, and that their father-in-law actually said, "Hey, it'd be kind of a good idea if you two go into business together." One was working on soaps, and the other one was working on candles at the time. So currently, we touch over 5 billion consumers globally. We're in over 130 countries, and we have about 95,000 employees worldwide. The way we're structured is that we have 10 business units based on the brands. And so as you look at these, you'll probably recognize maybe some products that you've used in the past. So, all the way from, baby care products like Pampers and Loves to fabric with Tide detergent, to skin and personal care with Olay, out to some personal health and oral products like NyQuil and Crest. So we have 10 business units, and they're all, independent in that they're, they have to, take care of their own profit loss. But then it is all rolled up into one company corporate outcome. I work in corporate functions, which kind of spans all business units. And so we work on innovation that can benefit at least 2 business units, hopefully more. And also I want to just mention, I am on the technical track, so I'll talk about that in a little bit, our 2 tracks, but I'm a research fellow on the technical track, but I'm also the global statistics discipline leader. And so that role is more of a manager kind of role. I don't manage people, but I do keep our community of statisticians connected. We learn from each other through seminars, training, and also our talent and career system is part of the discipline responsibility. So we have statisticians embedded in the businesses. So about 1/3 of our group are embedded in the businesses and report up through the business. And then about 2/3 are in corporate function. So altogether, we have a little over 50 statisticians globally. Over half have PhDs, and the rest are masters and bachelors. We also have another department in R&D called the Data Science AI, and we have about a little bit over 50 there also. We do have a dual technical track, and this is quite nice. So a person would enter at an entry level, and then it's typically about 2 levels up, you have to make a decision whether you'd like to go on the technical track or the management track. The technical track, there you're, working to bring in, for statisticians, bring in new statistical methods, lead, the design analysis on project teams, and lead in other ways as well. And there's a few levels yet on the technical track, but on the management track, but then it peaks out at a certain level. There's research fellow, that's really kind of the top, but then there's one more level where there's awarded one person a year out of our 8,000 R&D employees to go to that one next level. On the management side, though, that goes all the way up to the CEO, and so there's a lot of growth potential there on the management side. Where are we located? Most of us are located in Cincinnati. I'm in Cincinnati. We have several research centers around the city. And we're also located in Boston, but most in the US are in the Cincinnati area. We do have statisticians in Europe, in the UK, Germany, and Belgium. And then in Asia, we have 2 research centers, one in Beijing and one in Singapore. So what are some of the application areas that we work on at P&G? One of the big ones is consumer research. So this is, understanding the consumer needs and wants. And another really big area is then, once we know what the consumer needs and wants, then we have to, figure out how to make a product that what would be something the consumer would use, and then also, how do we package the product, and then also how do we make it. So statisticians are definitely involved in all of these areas. We also do clinical research in our oral care, healthcare, and beauty care businesses. So some application areas that I want to just mention. One area is in claims, so claims and litigation. So any claim that we make at P&G that we put on our package or we use in marketing, we require data to support that. So it's not uncommon to have some litigation where one company makes a claim and is challenged by another company, and so we want to be ready for that. So robust design and analysis are essential, in that area. We do research in biotech, so to determine how products and technologies, kind of alter the microbiome of users. And a fair number of statisticians work in product safety, to make sure that the ingredients that we put into products are, safe for consumer use. I do want to touch a little bit on, design and analysis of experiments, because, this is used a lot in the product, package, and process development areas at P&G. It's also used a lot in consumer research, and even in safety. We will, upstream safety will make use of this, critical technology. So, so we use it to develop new laundry formulation. So the inputs might be various ingredients, and the outputs could be some technical measure about the performance, or a consumer evaluation. In developing a new bottle, we do a lot. There can be a lot of components that go together in the bottle, and so we do a lot of design experiments. And there, the output might be, how well the bottle design dispenses the product, for example. We also develop and optimize manufacturing processes, and so there we use, screening designs, response surface designs, robust parameter designs. Actually, we use those types of designs elsewhere also. So a lot of design experiments. The other area that we do a lot of work in is working with our modeling and simulation group, where they're coming up with first principles models based on chemistry and physics. And here's an example where you see a Tide bottle being dropped, and you can see it kind of explodes, and the liquid is it's going all over the floor. So that's something we don't want to have happen. And so on the right side of that video, you can see that's a finite element analysis model that's kind of doing a pretty good job of mimicking the physical. So what we do is we'll design experiments for the computer model. We'll build the meta models, and we'll look for bias between the physics and the empirical data. Another hot area is text analytics. So we have quite a bit of unstructured data when we do our surveys with consumers, product reviews like on Amazon, or incident reports. And for us at P&G, it allows us to find insights into our complaint data along with ratings and reviews. We're also using some deep learning models. This is one example that's out there. It's called the Skin Advisor. And so this will take in a photograph of your face, and will give a prediction of your age. And so this one uses a deep neural net where we had thousands of images that all were tagged with the age of the person in the image. And so we make use of that. So we're doing quite a bit of machine learning in our data science AI group. And I would say our statisticians are definitely doing more machine learning than we did, even 5 years ago. So some of the technical skills that we're looking for, design and analysis of experiments, both physical and computer, discrete choice, various types of predictive modeling, data visualization, and some other areas, including Bayesian, multivariate, and SPC, and so on. So this is quite a laundry list, and no one statistician in P&G is going to be good at all of those, but we do have experts in really all of these areas, and so that's why we try to stay together and learn from each other through some of our discipline activities. And of course, programming is another key skill that we're looking for. Non-technical skills are actually extremely important. We work a lot on multifunctional teams with engineers and scientists. Could be, biological, chemical. We work with quality assurance. We work with regulatory, and so communication skills are really important. Both verbal, written, and presentation skills. We really want people to be a team player, good collaborator, really curious and able to drive problem solving, and really have this kind of entrepreneurial kind of spirit of them. And we've been focusing a lot lately with really diving into effective problem definition. This is often what we face, where there just isn't really clarity on the problem to be solved initially when we're working on a project team. So we're trying to get better at that. So some final thoughts just on leadership in industry from someone who's on the technical career track. For us on the technical side, leading through problem solving is definitely probably our biggest contribution to innovation, and getting comfortable with large unstructured problems that don't just have a simple solution, and building our tool set to influence and collaborate are key there. We do quite a bit with academic connections, and so like it was mentioned that I'm a adjunct professor at Georgia Tech, and that work is mainly working with students on problems that we face at P&G. So if there's a new problem, one of the most recent was a problem we faced with how do you design computer and physical experiments at the same time when you want to use the data for the physical experiment to validate the computer model. So that's some research that we just published. So you can do basic research. The problems need to definitely be connected to what we're trying to do at P&G, but we like to collaborate on those. The other thing is we want to really lean in on strategic discussions, especially around how we organize organizational design, and even for talent development, we need to really help our managers with ratings and promotions and that sort of thing. And of course, coaching and mentoring are really key. And I guess something that I've really seen at P&G is that the hard skills are definitely needed. So if you're a student going through school, you definitely want to learn the technical skills inside and out. And that's the training you're getting in school. But you also want to start to work on some of your soft skills. And so because the soft skills, if you can really develop those along with your technical, then you can really take off. It's like an interaction. Anything you can do to improve your communication, your influencing ability, collaboration, and that sort of thing is really, really important. And I'd say the other thing is your integrity. Doing the right thing and having your team members know that you will stand up for the data no matter which way it comes out is really critical. So I'll just end with this. These are some open positions at P&G. In research and development, where I'm at, we've got 4 openings. We have an opening. It's the person can either be in Singapore or Beijing. So that's for a statistician working on consumer research. We do have a management position. So this is like entry-level management role. We're looking for somebody there, and then we're looking for a Bayesian statistician. So if you have interest in Bayesian statistics, we'd like to hear from you. And then we also have an opening in our data science group. In IT, so IT is a whole nother function. They have their own data science group. They have some openings, both full-time and summer. They work on more of the marketing side of the business, so more the business side of the business, but they have a lot of really cool problems there. So with that, I think I'll stop and send it back. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brentman. I think we already have a few questions from our audience. Some are specific to you. So I'm gonna maybe let you answer some of the specific questions, and then more general questions we will hold until the end. So one question is, can you provide more insights about the research you do in biotech with microbiome and which statistic methods you do there? It's a technical question.
Yeah, so the actual technical aspect I cannot answer. Okay, I do not know the latest techniques that they're using in that area. I do know that one of the main areas that we are working on, we have most of our, not all of our products, but quite a few of our products interact with us humans because they are going to touch our skin. So there's quite a bit of work going on trying to understand that interaction and the biome there. So I'm sorry, but that area actually is one that I'm really not that up to speed on what they're doing with the latest techniques. I know that they do tons of multivariate type of techniques, but
Thank you, Dr. Brennan. Yeah, the microbiome is a really rising field, even in academics. So there are many novel statistical and bioinformatical methods being provided recently. Okay, so let's go to the second question. In applying for a statistical analyst job at P&G, which aspect of our work should we highlight during the application process? Research or academics?
Yeah, I think, well, the academics need to be there somewhere, just mainly just kind of a listing of courses, but your research is probably more important when you describe that. What was the context? Why was a problem important? What did you do and what were the results? That kind of a description. So kind of the CAR method of, the context, the action, and the results. And that's also something when you go into an interview, you want to have, you want to think about when, you're probably going to be asked about situations where, you're asked to be a leader, leadership situation, and you want to again talk about the context and then the actions you took and then the results. Kind of that's kind of a suggestion in general for students.
Thank you. Our next question is, does B&G conduct clinical trials? If so, do you have statisticians on that team?
Yeah, we've got, so those are the largest groups of statisticians that are not in corporate. So we have about 20 statisticians, about half are in beauty care, because we do clinicals, for example, for some of our deodorant products. We do clinicals for Head and Shoulders, which has some active ingredients in it. And then in oral and health, we do a lot of clinicals with for the toothpaste business and our whitening business. And then the personal health, of course, for example, like NyQuil, DayQuil, they have to do, we do clinicals there also. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I think there is another question. Do you have positions for the cooperative next summer? For the co-op next summer? What is the difference between a machine learning engineer and data scientist? What does data scientists mainly do? I guess this might be a question for other speakers as well, but Dr. Bredman, I want to go first.
Yeah, let me go ahead and answer. Yeah, so we thought about that long and hard. Was it 3 or 4 years ago when data science was, really starting to heat up and get hot, and universities were starting to put together programs, and, most started with master's degrees and so on. So, so what we did is we took a look at, okay, what does a curriculum look like for data scientists? And to us, it looked like, okay, you're going to get some, just a little bit of some of the data engineering, aspects. You're going to get some stats, some analysis kind of aspects, and the programming aspects, and then usually in the programs there's some sort of like practicum. So that's where you build skills and working with people and leading and so on. So we thought, well, wait a second, it looks to us like, well, we have a lot of statisticians. Okay, we had about the same amount we do now. What we don't have is really on a computer programming side, machine learning side, computer scientists. So what we decided to do is to look for, so this is how we don't really talk data science, we talk machine learning. So we are focusing on machine learning expertise. because we feel like that was something that we just didn't have. Some of us in staff were starting to, learn it and so on, some of the deep learning, recurrent neural nets and so on. But we knew we could really benefit by, getting some PhDs in computer science. So we have been doing that. We've been also looking for stats PhDs who have done, focused work on machine learning. So for us, we tend to call it machine learning. We still use data science some, but we are really focused on machine learning. And I know you had another question there, but I forgot it.
Yeah. So what does data scientists mainly do? I think you
Yeah.
already sort of answered that.
Yeah, for us, it's machine learning.
Okay, so I will save the other questions to the end because that's not specific to your particular company. Okay. Oh, there's a question for students, just to reiterate, the recording and the slides will be available to post it on the website of NIST. So if you cannot stay all the way, you should be able to see them in a couple of days later. Thank you. Thank you again, Dr. Bretman. So now let's move on to our second speaker. Our second speaker is Dr. Junshui Ma. So Dr. Ma is currently a senior director at Merck, and he leads the Translational Oncology Statistics Group. So Dr. Ma obtained his PhD from the Ohio State University. Before joining Merck, he worked in a few other places like the Los Alamos National Lab, Aruan Bioscience, and Ohio Computer Center. Then he joined Merck in 2005. So he's very senior and experienced, have 16 years of working experience at Merck. So he engaged in all phases of drug R&D, from preclinical to clinical development, all the way to regulatory filing and translational medicine. His research interests include machine learning in pharmaceutical R&D, stratified medicine, and survival analysis. So he has co-authored 30 peer-reviewed journal papers, also a lot of conference abstracts and posters. So let's welcome Dr. Ma.
Yeah, thanks, Ying. I will just share my slides here.
Sure.
Okay. So can you see my slides?
Yes, can you make it a full screen?
Okay, I will. Yeah, so it's okay. Is this okay?
Yes.
Good, good. Yeah. So let's start. Yeah, it's great to follow William because I just realized a lot of things William was saying is almost exactly like what I would want to say. So, but again, I started with something kind of a basic knowledge about Merck. Merck is a name we use at the US and Canada. Outside of these two countries, this company is called MSD. For example, in kind of different countries, they do have different names, but the MSD is used in Europe, in Asia, in all other countries. It kind of on the internet, you always found, especially even some kind of Wall Street company, they kind of have a news report. They confuse our Merck with a German Merck. These two companies are indeed from the same root, but right now they are totally independent two companies. And indeed, we call ourselves MSD because there was a German Merck. So there is a long story about that. I mean, if you are interested, you can just Google about it. So the name, our company in US and Canada is called Merck. And our business are primarily in pharmaceuticals and vaccines, and also animal health. So we produce a drug for those animals in the farms. And our headquarters are in New Jersey. And we are kind of in the process to transfer our headquarters to one New Jersey city, Kenilworth, to another New Jersey city called Rahway. I mean, this is still in the transition process. In 2020, last year, our revenue is kind of close to 50 billion. And right now, we have a little bit more than 70,000 employees kind of globally. And like both our CEO and our Merck Research Lab heads changed this year. The new CEO is called Rob Davis, and the new Merck Research Lab head is Ding Li. And the research lab itself is probably have close to 10,000 people. Yeah. So as for statisticians, almost all Merck statisticians work in an organization called BARDS. The BARDS is a short name for biostatistics and the research decision sciences. And right now, there are close to 700 people in this organization, BARDS. And this is kind of something kind of like different from P&G. My understanding is like P&G have statisticians at least in 2 or 3 different kind of organizations. Here, we all in one BARDS, but we serve the whole company, probably except for the animal health. We serve both pharmaceuticals and the vaccines. And within these organizations, there are primarily kind of 3 groups of people. The one group is the statisticians. I put 200 plus here. Indeed, I assume it's probably more than 300, but I didn't really check because we expand kind of quite rapidly recently because of reorg, because many different things. And also besides statisticians in this organization, we also have epidemiologists and also a large number of statistical programmers. For statistical programmers in pharmaceutical, most of them we also call SAS programmers, but now we gradually try to find people who also know those other languages. This BARDS primarily are kind of located in US, like most of the employees are in US, primarily in 2 sites. One site is in Rahway, New Jersey. Another is in kind of Upgrange, Pennsylvania. These 2 sites are about like 1.5 hour driving. And besides these 2 sites, Merck BARDS do have a footprint in Switzerland. We just built a beautiful site in Switzerland and just kind of host a lot of our BARDS employees. And also we have sites in Beijing, probably Shanghai, and also that's 2 kind of major cities in China. And also we have sites in Belgium and the UK. So you can see this organization is scattered kind of around the world. In the sense of kind of how this organization is located inside of Merck, you can see start from the Merck Corporation, 70-some thousand people. Then you have like 10,000, kind of around 10,000 people in Merck Research Lab. And then you have about like 4,000 people in global clinical development. This organization primarily is for running all kinds of clinical studies, those kind of things. And then BARDS is within this organization, have 600 to 700 people. So you can see the kind of zoom into how kind of from the outside Merck, how to zoom into this particular organization. Although we are in this global clinical development organization, but we are doing things more than serving the clinical development. We are serving among other areas, as you show here. So as for the statistician job, I mean, a moment ago I said close to 300 statisticians in BARDS, and those people currently in these 3 subdivisions, or you can subgroups. One is early developed statisticians. In this group, you can probably there are around 70 people statisticians here. And in this group, they are not really kind of supporting a lot of, they have a big chunk of people support clinical kind of development, but they support more like an early stage clinical development, like phase 1 or phase 2, early phase 2. And also they support discovery and the preclinical research, like those kind of in vivo, in vitro, or kind of like a Bion a moment ago, people mentioned that. That's kind of the technology, kind of this EDI support. And also translational medicine. That is, translational means transfer the knowledge between early kind of discovery and the clinical research. So basically, if you find something in animal, in vitro, in vivo, you transfer that kind of into clinical, or you find something clinical, you transfer that knowledge back to animal. So that's kind of translational medicine. And also assay development. Assay is basically kind of the things to mirror other things. It's more like developed tools for the pharmaceutical kind of the research. And also safety. This part is a non-human safety, because when you file a drug, FDA will require some safety data for, like, before you're doing kind of a human testing. So this safety is for this, use the animal to do the safety test and some other areas. Then the primary, this latest developed statistician kind of group, this is a major kind of, I think it's probably over 200 of them are here in this organization. A lot of them, most of them are those late stage clinical development statisticians. And besides that, there are also kind of outcome research and health economics. And those kind of statisticians are primarily for those filed or approved drug. Right now, I mean, different countries, they kind of decide your price based on the value you can provide. So based kind of this is more like demonstrate the value of our products, our drug, our vaccine, like how much life can save, how much kind of money we can save for the society. So that we kind of depends on that, we put our price over there. Another is safety. This safety is a clinical safety. So all across all this kind of studies, efficacy is the one emphasized for the clinical development, but meanwhile, study the safety of our drug is another very expensive, important aspect of the clinical development. And there is a particular safety group to oversight all the safety aspect of across different studies, across different programs, and also publications. And to let the society understand the new drug, we will have a lot of actual research to demonstrate the efficacy, safety, and different kind of phase of development of the drug. Many of them translate into very high-level publications. And of course, there are some other miscellaneous kind of areas. I will not be able to cover all the details. And then there is another book called Methodology Research. This is a small group. Right now, it's probably 5-6 people. So this group doing some methodology research and also software and platform kind of evaluation. So one thing I want to emphasize is, although there is a group called methodology research, but indeed, in every group, early development or late development, every group, people are doing research on their own. For example, in my group, I just encourage people can probably spend 20% of time doing things that they like for the research they are interested in. The research can be statistical, kind of purely statistical methodology kind of research, or combination of a statistical and a clinical combination, like those kind of research. Yeah. So this is the general kind of areas we are talking about. I mean, this is the task indeed the organizer, the NIST gave to us. So the 6 questions basically is the kind of the things I try to address in the remaining of my presentation. The first one is my current role and how my career was developed until now. So my current role is leading a group of statisticians in early development statistics. And my group is a small group in this EDS organization. This group is working on translational oncology. My group's responsibility is for oncology biomarker. Oncology biomarker basically is a measurement so that you can figure out which patient should take a particular oncology drug. Because when people have a cancer, you cannot really let the people test this drug, test that drug, and then spend 10 or 20 years test a different drug. You want this person to go for the right drug for this person so that people can be like cured or delayed their disease progress before it's too late. So the personalized medicine is a very important aspect of this oncology research. So the oncology biomarker play the key roles here. Another is called companion diagnosis. I mean, companion diagnosis is basically like for example, once you have a biomarker, and basically kind of, for example, we right now have a very important drug called Keytruda. That's a kind of a oncology drug that translates the whole landscape of the cancer research kind of treatment. And but in some cancer type, our drug is working for a particular type of people. For example, PD-L1 high. So this PD-L1 measurement will be used before you can be eligible to use our drug. So this kind of measurement is called a companion diagnosis. It's a companion with the drug. And so this is another filing. You file your drug, but you also need to go to the regulatory to file your measurement, this companion diagnosis, so that when you begin to sell your drug, there is approved measurement associated with drug available in the market. And also there are some biomarker-focused clinical studies. Not all the clinical studies are for drug development. Some clinical studies are focusing on understanding some particular new biomarker. So that's also, we will take care of that kind of study. And also some biomarker-related publications is also in our area. As for me, my career started, I got my PhD in 2001 from Ohio State University. The interesting is that my PhD is in electrical engineering. Yeah, I went and then I joined Merck in 2005. And from 2005 and 2014, nearly 9 years, I worked in a group called Biometrical Research. That group is it's an amazing group. And over there, I had experience to work on drug development and the preclinical research project. And also I spent years on biosignals, for example, brain signals like EEG for both discovery and clinical application. I also have a lot of kind of innovative technology. And I mean, there are always new technology they want to push into pharmaceutical. We kind of tested those technology and also new methodology. Like our group is the first to introduce this deep learning into the compound design, those kind of things we call it QSAR. One of the first groups in the pharmaceutical areas. And also 2014 to 2018, I moved on to work on some late stage oncology clinical studies and finish the regulatory filing and get approval of a particular label for our Keytruda program. And then from 2018 until now, I'm leading this translational oncology group. Yeah. So as for the preferred kind of qualification for candidates, always for the education part, we always put this like a PhD in statistics, all other related areas preferred. But again, I just mentioned I got my PhD in EE. I get into this area because my EE was in machine learning area. And that was like in 2001, I was working on kernel learning. Probably a lot of it is kind of young people don't know that. But at that moment, that beat neural net soundly. So I was focusing on this kernel learning and in my PhD research. But after my graduation, I gradually kind of shifted to area like right now you call data science. Because at that moment, there's no name for the data science. I couldn't find a right job for machine learning. And at that moment, machine learning was something like, I tried to get to Amazon at that moment. When they said, what's your research area? I said, support vector machine. They just hang up their phone because they don't know what a support vector machine is. At least the person interviewed me. But right now, and in this kind of Merck, I think most of the people we are hiring are from a statistics background. but we kind of are open. If you demonstrate that you have experience, have a capability in statistics and in particular kind of data science areas, we are open for those people. And as for the experience, for the entry level people like new fresh PhD, we don't really expect any like industry experience. But if you are applying for non-entry level job, we hope you can have some industry experience. As for the requirement, knowledge of the statistical principles and the relevant method is we'll assume you have that after you get your PhD or at least some kind of master level education. And as for the communication skill and teamwork spirit and computer science, I mean, these two things, I think William mentioned that as a soft skill. I think I just cannot emphasize or overemphasize how important these two things are in the pharmaceutical industry. Because again, the same thing as P&G in Merck, you always work in a team, and then you always work in people who are not majoring in statistics. And you cannot say something so profound in statistics so that you confuse people. So you have to convey your message in a very simple way, very kind of understandable way, so that you can get your opinion across, and also make the whole team kind of understand what you want to see, and then finally follow your suggestion. So communication skill, both kind of it's sometimes go beyond just kind of the language part. It's there is some human factor over there. So that's a kind of when we interview people, bring people on site or virtually online right now, this is one part we kind of examine very, very closely. Because we know if you get your PhD, you went through those testing, but in college, they are not really give you a good evaluation of your communication skill. That's a part that we put a lot of emphasis during our interview process. And also the teamwork spirit. And the teamwork spirit is basically kind of, you know how to work with all kinds of people with different background, with the different kind of personality, and which is not means you have to say yes all the time. It's indeed sometimes means leadership kind of spirit, and you know when you should say no and when you should leave, but without offend any of our people. So the teamwork spirit is a soft skill. I mean, again, we kind of trying to use all kinds of questions to check that during our interview about this person. Of course, computer skill is necessary. It's a kind of the tool we use almost every day, including programming skill. And also, we hope this person is motivated and have the passion about what they are doing. So the advice for the, I mean, I literally follow the questions the organization NIST is asking us to answer. So as for the advice for candidates interested in the pharmaceutical area, the first thing is, of course, we hope you will have a solid academic foundation. When you get here, for example, if you work on the oncology area, we know you'll learn the survival analysis, so kind of thing. And we will not really kind of ask you to put on kind of formulas, but we will probably use question, use your presentation to mirror kind of to really have a solid understanding of this academic aspect of the thing. And also in pharmaceutical, you have to learn a lot of things related to clinical part, related to the process, related to sometimes you also have to really study some other area. So you have to teach yourself things very quickly. Again, as for the soft skill, this cannot be overemphasized. I already mentioned the communication skill and also teamwork spirit. And one extra thing is problem-solving ability. This is another thing. One kind of thing is I keep emphasizing to a lot of people is have a vision of big picture. So basically, kind of you shouldn't really always focus on very narrow things, because if at the big picture, what you are doing is not meaningful, you should really have the vision to tell the whole team what you are doing is not meaningful in the big picture. So in the sense of research and management kind of letter, I think the research These are 2 tracks. You can read this. There are a lot of kind of levels. In the sense of research, it starts from a senior scientist. That's the PhD level. Most of the time, it's a PhD level. Sometimes we also hire master level people with some working experience and at this level. And also, most of the time people will not get the manager kind of position. Manager position was primarily for other kind of area where people were hired from bachelor level, so they have experience to get to the manager level. So in our group, indeed, the manager level probably generally kind of have to kind of you go through some research level, and then it's like the PhD. I mean, then you make a decision whether you want to keep going up from the research level or you want to switch to the management kind of level. So that's kind of place where you can switch to the director, senior director, and also go up. Yeah. So the advice for the PhD student to prepare for the future. One thing is try to learn concepts from multiple angles, and also keep improving your communication and programming skills at school. Also, sometimes we found some candidates they just focus on their research, dissertation research. Hopefully, you can maintain curiosity beyond your research area, and also check for the career outside the university. A lot of students just want to stay in university, be a professor. That's great, but before you make that final decision about your career, go outside and check about it. For example, a summer intern or a few years in the industry, that will always benefit you. If you think that's not your final kind of career, you still want to go back to a kind of academia, but anything you work in the, especially kind of a research-oriented kind of organization, industry organization, will always give you a new perspective of a lot of things in academic. As for the job currently available in Merck, they are indeed we are hiring. We are hiring, kind of constantly hiring right now, and you can always go to this website to find the available job. For example, we are having this associate principal scientist. That's not the entry level. That's a 1 bar entry level biostatistics, and you can go there to search it. I mean, every job associated with a job number, and you can find this information over there. And there's other some late stage clinical development kind of job over there. Just remember this website. It's jobs.merck.com. Yeah, and so that's it. I mean, that's all kind of my presentation. I probably kind of used too much time. Get back to you, Ying.
Thank you, Dr. Ma. Yeah, I also see we received a good number of questions, but I feel let's hold the question to the end because these are not very specific to Merck only. So how about we keep moving? So we will introduce our third speaker, Dr. Wishan. So Dr. Wishan, can you put your slide on while I'm introducing you?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, Dr. Wishan is the Senior Director in the Statistics, Data, and Analytics at Eli Lilly and Company, another pharmaceutical company. He received his PhD in biostatistics from University of Minnesota, and he has spent 25 years at Lilly. And during his career at Lilly, he has made substantial contributions to drug development in various fields, including osteoporosis, men's health, autoimmune disorders, and recently in COVID. He's a fellow of ASA, and he also served as a member and chair of the ASA Committee of Nominations. He has been a long-term contributor to the ICSA, International Chinese Statistical Association. He served as the president of ICSA in 2015. During 2013 to 2017, he was an AE for the Journal of Biopharmaceutical Statistics. He has contributed more than 50 publications on statistic methodology and medical research. So now let's welcome Dr. Shen.
Ying, thank you very much for your kind introduction, and it's great to see you again. And want to thank the organizer for putting this great session together. After listening to the first 2 speakers, really learn a lot. I hope the students, you get learning as well. So I will talk about the company I work for and the statistic group. that we have at Eli Lilly. So first, let me just very quickly to provide a very brief summary of my journey as a statistician at Lilly. This is my 25 year at Lilly, so it's been a long time. And for most of my career, I spent time in drug development, especially in the clinical stage of the drug development. As Ian already alluded, I've been working on drug development in osteoporosis, men's health, more recently on autoimmune disorders. And very excited to be involved in the COVID-19 research, especially on the antibody treatment. Lilly does have the first treatment approved under emergency use authorization for COVID-19, and very proud to be part of that team. And as far as my own roles and career paths, I think there were some questions related to a technical path, a leadership path, or administrative paths. I've been on both sides. Of course, I started as a technical statistician in my career right after I finished my PhD at University of Minnesota. And then I continued to advance on the technical side, eventually in 2003, probably 7 years after I joined Lilly, I moved to the administrative side. And then there is a time period that I also decided to move back to the technical side, but then again, I moved back to the administrative side. So you can see here, there's a lot of flexibilities. I would say, as people grow their career and, to certain levels, whether it's technical or administrative, I think the leadership skills on both technical and more broadly, they're required on both sides. Even in my administrative role as a senior director for statistics, I got very deeply involved in a lot of the technical problems and issues, but maybe more broadly across multiple programs. And that's almost an expectation. I've been very fortunate to get my company's support to be involved in very deeply in external organizations, volunteering, and this actually really helped me to get a great connection with many of the statistical colleagues, even students, across all these activities. So let me just talk about a little bit about Eli Lilly. I think very similar to what you have heard from the other two presenters. Lilly also has a lot of history, almost 145 years. It was founded back in 1876, and our mission is to unite caring with discovery to create medicines that make life better for people around the world. And our core values are integrity, excellence, and respect for people. I think these actually came through very strongly as we were very proudly involved in the COVID research, responding to the challenge of the pandemic, having medicines discovered and developed only within 2-3 months after the outbreak of the pandemic, and then put these into clinical trials, testing, and there are a lot of patients actually already being helped during the clinical trial stage, but actually advanced very quickly in November 2020, so even before vaccines was approved, the treatment for COVID using monoclonal antibody was approved. So I think that's actually a very good illustration of the work we do and our purpose and value. A little bit more facts about Lilly. Headquarters is in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're about 2.5 hours away from Chicago. This is also the capital city of the state of Indiana. About 35,000 employees worldwide, 8,000 people engaged in the research and development. And I think the majority of the statisticians, they all work in this research and development organization. You can see clinical research activities is being spread out across the globe. And we do have development and manufacturing sites in 8 countries. As far as statisticians, we have presence not only here in the US, Canada, major Europe, and China, Japan, Australia. So again, it's a global organization, very similar to the other two presenters shared about their company. Some of you may not know where Indianapolis is. We are actually the 13th largest city in the nation. We do have a lot of the sports and culture program in the city. Pacers, the Colts play here. And also the NCAA headquarters here too. So we host Final Fours regularly. Indy is also very much well known for car racing, the Indy 500 that runs on Memorial Day, 400,000 people at a peak time. So it's a very vibrant city, growing in the last many years. So next, I will talk about our organization. Actually, just about a year ago, we have these three groups merged together. So statistics, data management, and the statistical programming. And we combine these three components and form an organization called Statistics, Data, and Analytics. And this really helps us to make life better across the globe through implementation of efficient and innovative statistical support. So that's how we kind of come together. And it's so far been working out very well because these three groups, they interact very closely anyway. It is good to bring them all together into one organization. So this is about the drug development process, and I won't be able to go through kind of all the details, but you can see research start at a very early stage, and typically from discovery research all the way to product development to clinical side of the development, human testing, eventually getting approval. It usually takes about 10 years, okay? So I think when the pandemic started, people have really high expectation to get treatment in place within a couple of years. That's already been very aggressive goals. But I think many of the pharmaceutical company and biotech company, they've really done the hard work and turning around with either vaccine or treatment available almost within a year after pandemic. And that's really amazing speed. A lot of people worked really hard, but this is the normal process. You try to find a target, find a compound that works or that show promise to be work, and go through all these preclinical testing, animal experiments, and then advance into human side of the clinical trials, different phases from safety to efficacy to large-scale confirmatory trials to seeking regulatory approval, to expand the product into multiple indications or disease states. And then even after the drug is approved, there's a lot of the real-world data coming into play, either from large observational studies or insurance claims database, electronic medical records. And even there is manufacturing, quality assurance. What I can say is we have statisticians involved in every stage of this work. And then they do present different challenges in terms of statistical methods. And many of these are very much cutting edge methods. And we do have statisticians involved in all of these. We are somewhat like organize our effort. So the top three on the left side, oncology, diabetes, neuroscience, and immunology. These are actually 4 different business units. So we do have majority of our statisticians working on the clinical trials, sitting in these 4 areas. Drug discovery, that's the very early stage of discovering the molecule or treatment, and then product development to make the product better, and large scale manufacturing. That's another group. We also have many statisticians in that groups, probably about 30 to 40 at least. We do have a methodology research and consulting group, and also tool development, because we also develop our own software, especially on the Bayesian analysis side. and the modeling and simulation. So we have some tools like for Bayesian network meta-analysis, Bayesian probability of study success evaluation, which depending on a lot of the simulation software. So we developed some, we use existing software, but we also developed some. But that group is also focused on some of the methodology development. That's called Statistical Innovation Center. And along with that, we have a computational group supporting that. I mentioned real world evidence. These after a drug is launched, we have a lot of real world data and causal inference, propensity score adjustment. These are some of the commonly used methods in that setting. And we have a dedicated group for that. Okay, so positions, and I initially only understand this maybe for PhD students only, but we actually have roles for either PhD or master in statistics, both at entry level, so for people without experience. PhDs, yes, we do have a variety of the jobs, starting from internship. It's usually a 12-week program in the summer. And just for this year, we start a co-op program. So we run this co-op program throughout the academic year. Right now, we're running the fall program, and very soon we're going to run the spring program. The pandemic's actually helped in certain way because now most of the students can work remotely, so they don't have to leave their school during the academic year. Some may only work for 20 hours a week. Some could be full-time, 40 hours a week. Right now, we have probably about 5 co-op students working with us this semester. In the summer, we usually have a lot more interns, about 15 interns. Our entry-level position is in the second column. That's just required PhD in statistics or biostatistics. Sometimes we do consider some related field if we have some special need, like in AI and machine learning, genomics, that we could open up a little bit more qualification beyond statistics and biostatistics. And just like what Dr. Ma has shared from Merck on a technical level, not only we have the entry-level position open, but we have the more experienced positions open as well. And then on top of this, these are probably more for a student with a PhD degrees. For masters, certainly with experience, we have some positions posted here, but also for masters without experience in our statistical programming organization, we actually hire people there as well. So we recruit year round. We usually also go to some of the major conferences to do recruiting, joint statistics meeting, ENA, and even last week with the Women's Statistics Conference as well. And we also run like a seminar like this with many of the universities through our contact and network. And again, this position is focused more on the PhD level project statistician. They're generally involved in study design, methods, and running the study, answering all the questions, and eventually doing analysis, interpretation. And it's very cross-functional work. That's why all these speakers emphasize on your soft skills or your interpersonal skills, because on a day-to-day basis, we work with scientists, physicians, marketing, and other functions. And our career paths I talk about, we have both administrative and technical as well. As I said, Lilly is actually very, very supportive for statisticians to be involved in external organizations, especially with the American Statistical Association. Currently, we have 10 ASA fellows working at Lilly, and here are their names and pictures. You may recognize some of these faces, and they're actually coming from different programs. Our group is incredibly diverse. I look at a list of the affiliates, universities. We pretty much have people from all of these universities working at Lilly. So you can always find a connection. Some just quick advice for the candidates as you seek for your first job. First start with preparing your interview, of course, really working on resume, and research the company. I think coming to this seminar itself, it's actually very helpful for you to learn each company, what the statisticians are doing, get familiar with the job descriptions, really practice technical presentation. We do require a 45 minutes presentation, especially for all the PhD level candidates, and then prepare for the questions. And then during the interviews, just be prepared with the things I listed below, be clear on what drives you and motivates you to work in the pharmaceutical industry. And often, I think all the major pharmaceutical companies or biotech companies, they all have internship opportunities. So I really encourage you to apply for these. The American Statistics Association every year on December 1st will publish a list of internship opportunities. And if you add all these opportunity together, it's probably at least 100 in the summer. So there's a lot of opportunities available. Respond to questions with real examples. We really want to understand candidates' ability to work on real problems. So I think that's important. Get into technical details and then just be your authentic yourself. In terms of a little bit longer term, not just only for the interview, but if you're considering a career, what type of skill sets that you can develop right now while you're still in school. We mentioned about the technical ability, both on the depths and the breadth, and not only knowing your dissertation topic or a few projects you work on, but more broadly, across the field of statistics. And this field is actually evolving very, very fast. Interpersonal skills, communication and leaderships, have a mentor, have someone who can help you to grow your skills in that aspect. And then, as I said, join the professional network, ASA, student membership is very easy to participate, network with others, volunteer, that really help you to get well connected. So this is the end of my planned presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shen. All right. So I guess we all learned a lot, and there are a number of open questions. Given the time, I will quickly go through this. And some of the questions, I think either three of you can jump in to answer whenever you feel you know the answer. So thank you for those who patiently wait after posting the questions. Okay, so the first question is basically for the recent graduates, entry-level statistician, where can they find the job opportunities? I think Dr. Shen already mentioned AM Stat News or ASA website. So any other additions? How do they find the jobs?
Or our company website, we post, each company posts their positions on their company website. And nowadays with the technology, it's just quickly, I think as soon as they're posted, they get pushed all through like LinkedIn or all the job search sites. So, many of the people telling us, yeah, they didn't see the job description, the job posting on our company site, but they get through other ways, social network, very quickly. Yeah.
I think, nowadays the social network really gets around this opportunities extremely quickly. And also join the like the networks. For example, become an ASA member, so you can see this news or postings, and also attend the conferences. Great. So another question: to pursue a technical track, would you recommend getting a PhD degree, or would self-learning through online tutorials also suffice? Any of you would like to answer that question?
Yeah, I can start. I guess, P&G in our technical track, we do have, I would say probably everybody that's moved up has at least had a master's degree. on the technical track in statistics. The more you know, I guess, and the more you've been trained to, work on tough open-ended problems, the better off you are. So, I mean, you can get that training through PhD, but you can also get that through, work experience. So really on the technical track, there is no limit based on degree. Once you're in, then it's just all based on results and what you do and what results do you get. For me, I'll just finish up. For me, the question of, okay, do you go on for a PhD or not? That's more about, I think you should maybe not think about, is it good for your career? I mean, yes, you want to think about that, but more about, do you have a passion for, learning and doing research to that level, because you need that passion to get the degree and work. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Thank you. So Dr. Shen, do you want to add anything on that?
Yeah, I pretty much would agree with what Dr. Brenneman just said. We have both master's and PhD at our company, although our recent recruiting has been more focused on the PhDs for our statistician role. But I have seen people with master degrees really at a senior most level for our technical position. People just have great understanding, not only for the statistical skills, but drug development and all the science behind that. Those are usually the people most successful. And then also, people can learn. I think I know a statistician who, is just trained as a classical statistician almost 30 years ago, but real world evidence, that's really a new area, right? So he spent a lot of time working on this space, real world observational studies, causal inference, a lot of the collaboration, and even collaborate with Nobel Prize winner from Stanford, Dr. Inban, on the causal inference. So he's writing books on his work, but was these trained in a graduate school? No, it's all from work experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I see similar questions. So I hope you can get your answer from both Dr. Bretman and Dr. Shen. All right, so let's move on. We have quite a number. Okay. This is a question asking, as a statistician in one subgroup, is it easy to transfer for another subgroup? It's about how easy the transferability is.
So I can address this too. I mean, as I said, I have these like 8 different boxes. It's actually very easy. We actually plan people to have some of these transfers. Of course, some people may want to stay in a therapeutic area for a long time, like oncology is a very special area. Once you are into it, and then it seems like it can always grow and making more contributions there. In general, the transfers, every couple of years, you can plan where your next role is. You can even move from the methodology group to the kind of people doing the work on clinical development, back and forth. And even recently, we're considering a program called a rotation program, because we heard a lot of feedback. The new PhDs, they want to know just more broadly of the work statisticians do at Lilly. So within a 2-year rotation program, they can work in 3-4 different areas. And then they can focus on the area that interested them most. So we actually start to putting a program like this together.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Do you accept candidates with mass computer science background, like the PDE analysis or machine learning, instead of just the statistics?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that in my talk. We have they would probably go into our data science AI group, which we're all under one vice president. So there's a statistics group, there's a DSAI, and then there's a modeling and simulation, which are physicists and chemists working on first principles models. Yeah, definitely, for sure, we're looking for.
And I think our speaker, Dr. Ma, he mentioned he has a PhD from EE. So I guess all three of you are having the PhD from different areas, more statistics or biostatistics, or even more computer science. So great. Let's see another question. Do you see a future for statisticians work from home as a viable working mode, especially as of now, a lot of us working from home? So communication online, is that enough to get messages across, given data we work on can be accessed anywhere?
Yeah, I think the pandemic actually didn't give us that much choice to work from home, right? We've been probably in that mode for more than a year now. I think this will continue, and pretty much all the major companies offer flexibility for work arrangement, especially for the field of statistics. There's a lot of things that's done behind scenes, so you could still work very efficiently at home. We actually also allow more people to kind of telecommute, even for our new hires, although we do encourage them. There are benefits. Every year we probably have at least new PhDs studying with us. It's actually good to have them form a community learning together. It's kind of, your own class, but we're very open. Even some of the recent hires, they all will start remote, and that's okay too. We will need to come up with ways to make sure they are still well connected, still well trained, and maybe once the pandemic eases, travel could be reopened. You can still have the opportunity to bring them together in person.
Thank you. Okay, so this is a question specific to Dr. Ma. The participant said, really interested in the role in your company. When you analyze clinical data, do you prefer traditional statistic models, such as survival analysis, for example, or more or less like a machine learning methods?
Yeah, for the clinical data, when we see clinical data, there are two aspects. One is more like for the filing, for the regulatory filing part. Over there, at this moment, I think almost 100% the primary or secondary analysis are more like we call that traditional method. But indeed, we are kind of begin to receive some feedback, some query, which is requiring us to use some kind of a machine learning method. Like in one case, the regulatory even asked us, can you try tree-based to do this kind of thing? So you can see, it's changing. It's kind of like the landscape is changing. And then another aspect of a clinical data analysis is more like there are some knowledge discovery using our clinical data. And for that part of work, we do involve, because that's mainly for internal knowledge discovery. For that part, there's no limitation. All methods are available on the table. We are indeed trying many different ways to do it. Innovation is encouraged in this aspect. Yeah.
Great, thank you for the great answer. All right, so this is a question for Dr. Brenneman. So how to approach industry professionals at P&G working decision sciences for shadow roles to get some hands-on experience on the type of work they're doing day to day. So this is more like how to approach to get some hands-on experience.
So is that from someone studying decision science? Or?
Yeah, in decision science.
And the question is, how can they get some hands-on work?
Right, or shadowing these professionals doing the decision science at your organization.
Oh, yeah, so I don't know that we have a group called Decision Science in our company. Now, we use data to make decisions all the time. So I would be more than happy to try to set something up with, the individual to talk with several different folks, both in R&D and on the commercial side, to talk about, how are decisions being made based on data-based decisions.
Yeah, I think the general approach could be doing some internship, right? But of course, depends on which specific programs offer intern positions. But I think the internship or this so-called co-op would be the great opportunities for the students to have some shadowing or hands-on learning experience.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. All right, this is also a common question. Would PhD in biology plus a master in statistics considered as PhD in related areas?
I would say this one's probably more borderline. When I talk about like the PhD related areas, it's probably maybe, we're looking someone doing genomics research and, PhD in bioinformatics, or when we're looking for someone in advanced analytics, have a PhD in artificial intelligence or machine learning from computer science, that would be considered maybe related. Epidemiology, people in safety evaluation, people have an epidemiology training, but very solid statistical training. So we pretty much like to see some element of statistical methods or related courses at a PhD level, even though your degree is not from purely a PhD in statistics or biostatistics. But if you don't have any of them, like a statistics theory class at a PhD level or some important classes, then it might be hard to judge. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we're already past 1:30. So would any of you can stay for another maybe 5 minutes so we can get through the rest of the questions? Okay, so this is for Dr. Shen. Are there job types at Lilly that can tap into both biostatistics hard skill and consulting experience?
Yeah, this one's easy to answer. I would just say pretty much every job at Lilly, that's the expectation, that you not only demonstrate your statistical technical skills, but also all the interpersonal skills. So communicating with others, consulting, explaining statistical methods, and being a team player on the clinical development. So every job, pretty much.
Great. So this is a question for the biopharmaceutical companies. So Dr. Ma and Dr. Shen. Currently, this participant is doctoral student in statistics and want to know what are the criteria in resume that can attract recruiters?
I can start with this one. It's really a hard. There is no magical pills, and it's not kind of like a hard science. Like it's totally depends on the hire managers. The process is we collect the resume from different channels. It's all go to the hire manager. Some hire managers went through 200 slides with the whole afternoon, and then they just select 5, 6 out of the 200. So what's the part attract them? Of course, experience. Like if you have some experience, like summer intern, it's stand out. And of course, you are having very related kind of research topic that stand out. And probably some other things, make you stand out. But there is no general rule, but my overall feeling is like getting yourself some internship. That's can be something definitely helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, because I review probably 200 resumes a year. I can provide some of the. I'm usually the hiring manager. All the hiring is done centrally through me at my company. So I completely agree with Dr. Ma just said. Your work experience, whether it's an internship or you work at an academic medical center, you work on very real applied problem. That's good to put on your resume. We used to also require people to have publications, whether that's submitted, accepted, or in progress. So really work on your publications section and presentations at external statistical conference, particularly at JSM or ENA. So I think those are the things, and awards that you have received, like your paper has received a student paper award from an ASA section. ASA actually provide a lot of the support. So I do encourage students, number one, you will get your network experience, right, with a major organization. You get involved, as I already talk about, and plus you get an award. Your trip is free. So take advantage of these opportunities.
Thank you. So next question. What differentiates the type of person who thrives more in industry versus in academia? I don't know whether you would like to address this.
I've not worked in academia, so but I think there's some of the common themes is really the pursuit for excellence and innovation. You have a very strong drive for this, then you will be successful equally on both sides. And I do collaborate with a lot of the professors too. Maybe on the industry side, it's a little bit more how you translate methods or multiple methods and apply it to real problems. So it's a little bit more about this. Academia usually you develop a method and you find a case study, you prove your point. But in the industry, you probably make it at a larger scale. Make it software, make it tools, make it more standards.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing is that I spent over a year in academia, and then I switched to industry, and then I stayed in industry. I mean, that's my personal choice. The reason I stayed in kind of industry didn't really go back to academia, although that's my original plan, but it's kind of stayed in the industry for many years. It's just because I love the kind of job. It's solving real problem and without focusing on one method. So in industry, solving real problem is something I like, but definitely it's kind of person by person kind of choice. So that's the reason I want to, every person can have a chance to try both side of the things and see where you should settle your life. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a quick question. I think I probably can answer that. How can we have the contact info of today's speaker? So I guess we should have all the LinkedIn information. You can search for the LinkedIn information of our speakers, and the short bio of the speakers are also posted on our website, of this website. Okay. And definitely you're welcome to contact our speakers for further questions. So this is okay. Because of the time, I won't accept more questions. So let's just finish the remaining couple of questions. So this is a question. The participant used to be a research scientist with a PhD in pharmaceutical sciences and now is pursuing a master's in statistics. Do you think the background would get this attendee into farmers as a biostatistician without a PhD in stats or biostats?
Yeah, I think in terms of general farmer, definitely yes, because general farmer is not just Lilly or Merck, but including so many pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, they definitely will look for, background as you described this. I think maybe in some companies, your starting point is more like a statistical programming. But as I said, if you have a 20-year, 30-year career, you're definitely going to grow. And moving to the biostatistic track definitely is possible too. So,
yeah. Okay, this one. So this is a question about if doing a postdoc in biostatistics after a PhD in statistics would be considered a plus for a career in biopharmaceutical, or is it better just to join a team right after graduation?
Right, we had this kind of situation, and we do found that people who with like a postdoc experience showed more maturity than the students who just graduate from college. But again, that's not something kind of will put you on a kind of a much higher level than others. It's still kind of a person by person situation. Sometimes you just kind of graduate from a kind of PhD program and then get into pharmaceutical, start really inside a pharmaceutical. Maybe that's kind of the easier path for you to grow in the pharmaceutical if you are sure you want to kind of spend many years in this industry.
Yeah, I think either way is okay. I think most of the pharmaceutical companies have plenty of research opportunities. So you join the pharma, you're still getting plenty research opportunity, developing innovative solutions or methods. And I think the job market is very hot right now. So people probably don't have to do a postdoc. There are plenty of good jobs out there already. And it will get you the experience. I mean, that's the point.
Okay, thank you all to all of our 3 great speakers spending a lot of time with us today. So I think this will conclude our virtual fair in the consumer product and pharmaceutical industry. So Dr. Rosenberg, do you have anything to comment?
Just want to say thank you, Ying, for moderating this, and for Junchua, William, and Wei for your presentations. Very informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you.